Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Stokastic.com MLB Strategy Show. Welcome back from the weekend. Hopefully you guys had a nice one. Little 6-game action today. Nice little 6-game action too. I must say, DK's got a nice contest today. And I actually ran the Sims with that in mind. So, I mean, yeah, I have 150. I have 50 favorite. I'm not playing 50 in the 111, but it's a 105 max. But it's like, what is it? 350,000 prize pool, $111 entry, 100K up top. It's pretty sweet. I like it. They need to do that more often instead of just like, I'll never understand the price. I'm jumping right into it here because I think a lot of you guys would agree with me. I wish that they would do more of the, like, give us the $3 mini max. I know they have the $1, like, or the, the moonshot, right? Like, give us the $3 150 moonshot back again. You can't tell me that wouldn't fill if you did like 20K to first. That would be an awesome contest. So you have the $15 relay thrower, 18, depending on the day. They changed the name, but it's the same contest, give or take a couple bucks per entry. And then you have like the 888, right? And then aside from that, you've got all of these single entry contests where it's like 5K to first on a $100 entry or $40 entry. And they haven't really, the $12, what is it, like base hit or whatever it is, the single, they haven't really expanded any of that. So I'm all about seeing something like that. They need to do more of this experimentation. I understand that sports betting is a priority now and maybe MLB DFS isn't, but I'm pretty certain that you could fill a lot of these like $3, even 50 max contests, you know, $3 100 max contest, or some of these $100 contests where it's not low stakes. It's more of a mid stakes contest. And, you know, you got great prize pools, but, yeah, Jorge, that'd be nice. Bring that back as well. But just give us more of an offering. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, glad you guys could join. Hey, if you don't mind, take a second, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. It is free to do so. We love you for that. 100% free. Leave a comment down below you're watching or listening after the fact. And if you're watching on X, hit that thumbs up. Maybe even a retweet, a quote tweet. Tell your friends, come hang. Let's talk baseball today. There's a lot to get into. But yes, Andy, I should have pointed that out. Atone for your sins this fine morning and hit that thumbs up. You guys have a good weekend? I had a nice weekend. Kind of laid low. Sometimes you need to do that. Did some yard work yesterday and actually got sunburned. It's that fair Irish skin. Yeah. Nice day. Windy as hell. I don't know if any of you guys live in the Northeast, but it feels like I've been behind a jet engine since November. I've had enough, but we're out of it now. Not yesterday. Yesterday was brutal, but it's starting to warm up. We got 6 games, though. We're going to walk through all of these. It's not a great pitching slate. If you guys haven't looked yet, it is not a good pitching slate at all. That's okay, though. You know, I always get these comments from people that are like, man, maybe I'll just not play this slate because pitching sucks. You have the same opportunity, the same player pool available to you as everybody else, you know? So if there's 5 great pitchers on a slate, what does that mean? If there's no good pitchers, everyone has the same pool of players to choose from. That's where the Sims come into play. That's where the Sims I love the Sims for slates like this. They're insanely profitable and impactful for slates like this, where, you know, they're great for slates where you have super chalky guys that you might just get underweight on because we don't value them the same way that the field would. But on slates like this, I love it. So we'll dig into that. I already ran them. I ran them for a 2,000 player field, favored 50 lineups, 25% to first. But of course, you guys know, many of you guys watching have the Sims anyway, so you can configure that however you want in the contest generator and then in the pre-contest sim. But yeah, it's not great. And it's also a Coors slate. It's also a Coors, not only a Coors slate, but a Coors slate where you have the Atlanta Braves with a monster total. I think we have them in the top stacks tool with a 6.5 run total today. Yeah, 6.5 run total for the Braves. 22% top stack. probability, 8% top value. The value's not even that bad, all things considered. And they're definitely owned, but it's not like they are getting exorbitant ownership. Right now, we have the Dodgers, the more popular team. We have Texas against JP Sears pulling 11% because of their value. And I can already tell you that the reason Texas against JP Sears is getting the ownership they are, and I haven't even looked yet. We'll walk through this together. Has to be the fact that people want to pay up for pitching, even if it's not the best pitching. I would think like the 10K Flaherty and, the $9,500 Dustin May against Miami, those type of guys. You're trying to pay up for them, and it's going to naturally lead you to a more discounted stack with a decent total. Ronel Blanco getting 36% ownership today. That is wild. So yeah, we'll go through all of this, but Texas feels like the team that if I could, I would get less of. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, I mean, we're getting some 4 and 3 mans at a decent clip, but not a ton of 5 mans. So it's clearly, a lot of filler stacks, but also 4 mans, not insignificant. We'll start here. Let's start with looking at our exposures, and then we'll start breaking these pitchers down. And as always, you guys have questions, comments, hit me up in the chat, and we'll talk through all of them. Einsteinium, it's Andre Palante day. I mean, maybe, but the guy, look, he's a ground ball wizard. He has the highest ground ball rate in the league, getting like 75% ground balls. It's insane, but he just doesn't miss bats. I mean, this guy, he's got a 3.5 strikeout prop today. He had a 3.5 strikeout prop last time. Generally, he's going to have a strikeout prop that sits in the 3.5 range, and that's just not encouraging by any standard at all. But we can talk about him. I mean, there's plenty of guys we can get into. What I found really interesting, though, and it is a Coors slate, is let's just see how our lineups shake out first. And then we'll kind of reverse engineer all of this, see where it's coming from. Look at the 5-man stack exposure to the Braves right now. 28%. 28% 5-man stack exposure. 4-man stack exposure is 14%, and 3-man is 14%. That is a ton. A ton. You're talking 56% if you include 3, 4, and 5-mans to the Atlanta Braves. Now, in a second, I'm going to go in and I'm going to favorite 150 lineups. Just to see. But right now, out of 50 lineups, that's 56% Atlanta Braves stacks. And then it falls off a cliff. You're getting the Athletics against Corbin. You're getting Colorado against Bryce Elder. You're getting Detroit against Ronel Blanco. You're getting Texas against JP Sears. I mean, that is just a crazy amount. And then a lot of Texas, Atlanta, and St. Louis 4-mans, and Atlanta, Texas 3-mans. So now that we have kind of the foundation laid out for stacks, let's take a look at pitchers. When I ran this earlier, we were getting virtually no Jack Flaherty, which to me is wild. I mean, very little Flaherty, very little JP Sears. Sorry, Einsteinium. Very little Andre Palante. Very little Sugano. A lot of the exposure is going to Nick Martinez. So I don't know about you guys. This is the way we usually take this show, is whatever way the tools take us. I think we need to dig into Nick Martinez for a second here and see what we're getting, because that is a lot of Nick Martinez. And as I said, we'll favor 150 of these and see if exposure kind of thins out a little bit. Shit, I went to Nick Martini. Go to Nick Martinez here. But as it stands right now, man, that's a lot. Do you want your day to be dependent on Nick Martinez and the Atlanta Braves? I think, the the rational person would say, yeah, I have no problem getting to a ton of Braves in this spot against Ryan Feltner at all. Right? Like that's kind of one of those. And isn't Feltner coming off the IR as well? Isn't Feltner coming off the IR? I think he is. But Nick Martinez, 20% K rate so far. I genuinely think I'm going to have a tough time convincing myself, and I may genuinely just have to roll with what the tools are telling me today. 10% swinging strikes, fine. It's Nick Martinez. I know plenty about Nick Martinez. I think a lot of us do. He's been in the league for over a decade now. I still remember doing shows with Pete Christensen with Draft Cheat back when we were at FanVice. And I remember Pete will remember this. He's not watching now, but he'll remember this. I still remember us back in like 2015 trying to convince ourselves when he was with the Rangers that Nick Martinez was a great pitching option at a discounted price. And I remember that day vividly because he got his dick kicked in, and I'm not sure he made it out of the second inning. But yeah, you're getting four-seamer, cutter, slider, change. Is he getting any like significant swing and miss stuff? Sure, on the slider. This guy kind of just is who we've known him to be. There's nothing about him that really stands out except his price point here. And I would think too, if you're trying to distill this down to something that makes a little bit more sense, if you look at the implied totals on this slate, there are a lot of high totals, right? Atlanta against Feltner, the Dodgers against Edward Cabrera. I have no clue what to make of that guy. I honestly think he is a good contrarian tournament play, though. It's gross. It feels disgusting, but the strikeout stuff is there. And I'm going to tell you why in a second. I think a lot of you guys will at least agree with me in some part. Sugano, Corbin, like these are high totals. Even Colorado against Bryce Elder is sitting around 5 runs. Baltimore against Will Warren at 4.9. Look at this. Texas 4.8 against Sears. Even Cincinnati against Palante 4.7. That seems pretty high, honestly. Palante's not a bad pitcher. So 4.7 here. So really the lowest total is Miami against Dustin May. And we're getting to a lot of Dustin May. 30%, second highest exposed pitcher. This 4.7 for St. Louis is actually in the bottom third today of teams. On most slates, this would be high, but it's not. It's bottom third. And it's really in the same ballpark as a lot of these other teams. The real outlier here is Miami against Dustin May and the Dodgers. So hopefully you guys understand what I'm trying to do here is just give ourselves a real layout of the slate, right? Just an overview, the landscape, all of that stuff, trying to figure out why we're getting what we are and how this slate breaks down. Because if you look at pitcher ownership, Ronel Blanco, that makes sense. 4.3 run total for Detroit, 36% ownership though. Dustin May is not special by any stretch, but he's not bad either. On a 10-game slate, I would argue he's overpriced. But on this slate, probably not. Jack Flaherty at 10K against Houston, that is a tough ask. You're paying a real premium for Jack Flaherty in a bad matchup, which means you'd also be foregoing some of the best stacks on the slate. So expensive pitcher, but also all of these really high totals. Five of the 12 teams have a total of 5 or higher. And 9 of 12 are 4.7 or higher. So, and guys, give me pictures in the chat. Give me some pictures in chat, and we'll break down all of them if there's anybody you want to look at. But Edward Cabrera, to me, because we already talked about Nick Martinez, he is essentially a I won't say necessity, but the slate kind of feeds you in that direction. I would say, though, that this Edward Cabrera spot, I'm going to tell you why I think there's at least something to be said about this. Edward Cabrera could get shelled. We already know that, right? We've seen him get shelled. There have been times where we've done this show. Matter of fact, Josh and I did a live before lock 2 weeks ago, and we were overweight on Edward Cabrera, and he got beat up. But he also had a bunch of strikeouts, and he has a 27% strikeout rate this season. Last year in 96 innings pitched, he had a 26% K rate. And the year prior in 99 innings pitched, he had a 27% K rate, 26% for his career. That's a very good number. It's not the 30% elite range, but it is a very good number. Now, he's a fly ball pitcher this season, but I don't expect that to continue because he never has been in the past. He gets a lot of swinging strikes. Look, 12% for his career. There is something to be said about what happens if just nobody on this slate is elite. What happens if there isn't a single pitcher that comes out and has a phenomenal game? They all finish, in that like 15 to 20 range. Dustin May only has 4 or 5 strikeouts maybe against Miami, even if he, suppresses runs. Jack Flaherty struggles, can't get deep into a game against a good Houston team. Nick Martinez is Nick Martinez, right? So I think all of that is viable on a slate like this, which leads me to say, well, what if we start looking at some of these pitchers who have good strikeout stuff but aren't in good matchups? The Dodgers are 12th in strikeout rate against righties this year. They do walk a lot. And with Edward Cabrera, that is something that we absolutely have to be cognizant of because he walks a shit ton of batters. That's the biggest problem for Edward Cabrera is he puts guys on base. And then after he puts them on base is where he gives up runs. Like, look, he has a 270 BABIP. His BABIP each of the last 3 years has been right around league average. Right around league average. Actually, no, I'm sorry, better than league average. Because league average is around 300. So he has a better BABIP than league average for his career by a mile. So what's the problem? Well, exactly that. Guys get on, and then he gets in trouble. That's what sucks. If he's not walking guys, Edward Cabrera is going to be sick, and the Dodgers walk at a high clip. So I think the Dodgers are very viable today as well. But Edward Cabrera, probably one of these guys that I would, at the very least, be considering. Right? I think you have to be. Yeah. I mean, just look how much better he's been with guys off. Right? 302 WOBA with none on, 342 with runners on. All of on base percentage, 374. He struggles there. And a lot of it is issuing walks and then getting into trouble once he does, which sucks. But I still think he's super viable here. What's up, BD? Yeah, Einstein, and we can take a look at Corbin. I don't love Corbin in this spot, and I'll tell you why. Unless something has changed since I last looked. Last time I looked, the Athletics were just not striking out against lefties. 22nd in K rate. They don't walk a lot against lefties, so I suppose that's good. But yeah, I mean, they're down there. Last year it was way different. They can pack that lineup full of right-handed bats, so we can pull Corbin up. But yeah, again, with Edward Cabrera, he's going to have some really good starts and he's going to have some really bad starts. Maybe this will be one of the good starts. We've seen plenty of the bad ones. Yeah, where's Corbin's game log? Because hasn't he been all over the map? Yeah, he had that 6 strikeout game against the Angels. He had 4. Oh, okay. Same timeout, same matchup against the Athletics in away. This one's at home. He was fine. And then earlier, what did he have? 4 innings, 3 earned, no strikeouts. That was the one I was thinking of. But it's Patrick Corbin. You aren't going to get anything surprising out of Patrick Corbin. He has, where is it? Yeah, around like a 9% swinging strike rate on the season. He's not going to miss a ton of bats. He's not going to get a ton of strikeouts. He's going to give up home runs. That's just what he does. He gives up home runs to righties. Look, like 1.88, 1.29, 1.65, 1.59. This is a lefty who throughout the entirety of his career has given up a good amount of home runs despite not being an extreme fly ball pitcher by any stretch. That's who he is. I probably don't get to much Corbin today. What do I have? 14% right now. Even 10% Feltner, 20% Warren. But I am getting 24% Edward Cabrera, which I'm okay with. Very okay with 24% Edward Cabrera. 22% Ronel Blanco. Does it scare me that I'm not getting the some Jack Flaherty? Yeah, of course it does. Of course. But in the same breath, if you're not getting the Flaherty, that means you can pay up for some really good stacks. Some really expensive stacks, because we have a lot of expensive stacks on the board. You pay for Dustin May. Nick Martinez is discounted. Cabrera is $8K. Honestly, I think the Edward Cabrera play here is going to be one that goes wildly overlooked. And you know what? We may come back here, or I may come back here tomorrow morning and say, hey, I probably shouldn't have played Edward Cabrera. And you guys would say, you know, you probably shouldn't have played Edward Cabrera. But he is the third. He is getting essentially identical ownership today as Ryan Feltner. Now, has Ryan Feltner been better? Sure. Has he been okay at home? Sure. Do I like this matchup against the Braves where they have a 6+ run total? I certainly don't. Edward Cabrera, at the very least, has a 26% career strikeout rate. If he starts walking guys, call it a day. It's over. It's over. Right? And we know that. It's over. But there are so many of these other guys that are getting ownership that haven't really been good. Like Ronel Blanco, for example. Getting a lot of Blanco against Detroit. Detroit is not a juggernaut, but they're also not a terrible offense. Like, this team continues to improve. They've continued to add and develop bats. They're not the same Detroit team from 2 or 3 years ago, right? Blanco, through his first 5 starts, has a 20% K rate and a 12% walk rate. This is a guy who, he's not been that good. You know, look at this. Blanco's been struggling to get through 5 frames. He's gone more than 5 innings in 1 of 5 starts. He certainly hasn't had the toughest of matchups either. Like, look at these matchups. These aren't the hardest matchups. He's not running into a buzzsaw every time he toes the rubber. And I'm not talking myself out of him. I fully intend on having plenty of Ronel Blanco today, right? We're talking about a 6-game slate with a lot of pretty ugly pitching. He's got a good swinging strike rate. Like, overall, this guy's better than he's performed on the season. All I'm saying is, if there was a slate where you guys, and it doesn't have to be on Edward Cabrera, don't think I'm just trying to convince you on Edward Cabrera here, right? And trying to convince you on going away from Ronel Blanco, because that's absolutely not what I'm doing. All I'm suggesting is that if you're talking about a slate such as this one, where there isn't a single pitcher that pops off the page outside of if you wanted to argue Dustin May, but he's not cheap. He's $9,500. If there was ever a slate where you wanted to get a little bit weird and jam bats, I think this is the perfect slate to do that. Especially if the field decides that they're going to force expensive pitching in and go cheap at hitting. You know, you can get different by just doing one or two things. Right? And yeah, Blanco, by the way, 3.63 xERA, but nothing else really suggests that he's been that unlucky. So if Blanco, Dustin May, and Flaherty are getting this ownership, and JP Sears is getting sub 10%, your boy Einsteinium, Andre Palante, getting 9%, Cabrera getting 8.8%, maybe there's something there. At the very least, if you wanted to talk about Andre Palante, and this is for you, Einsteinium, if you wanted to say one, redeeming fact about him, it would be that he's very capable of keeping the ball on the ground. And from a strikeout standpoint, he's as bad as it gets, 14%. It's one of the lowest among all starters in the league. There's no doubt about it. But he has a 67% ground ball rate, 17% fly ball rate. That's crazy. So if you're keeping the ball on the ground, he just has the potential to possibly go 7 innings here. Like 7 innings, 1 earned, 3 strikeouts, 4 strikeouts. You'd be very okay with that. Like this game here against Philly, 7 innings, 2 hits, 4 strikeouts, just inducing a ton of weak contact. It's not likely, but a lot of things aren't likely on this slate. I mean, how likely is it that Ronel Blanco gives us 30, but people are willing to play 30% of him, right? So, yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at this. These ground ball rates are preposterous. It's just like nothing. If it does go in the air, it's probably a home run. But aside from that, it's just all ground balls. Everything's a ground ball. Pretty crazy. Yeah, I think in an odd way, this is kind of a cut and dry slate. Jorge, Edward Cabrera is 1-3 with an ERA of 10.93 and 17 strikeouts in 4 appearances against the Dodgers in his career. How many innings, Jorge? Yeah, how many innings? I mean, again, you're going to have to make some weird decisions. Stephen Foster, Dustin May is the play today. Yes, but also, and this is what we're talking about, Stephen, is that you're not going to be doing anything. You aren't going to be doing anything the field isn't doing if you're playing Dustin May or Ronel Blanco. Am I saying you have to? No. As a matter of fact, I kind of love what the Sims are giving me right now, and I'll show you why. Let me favorite 150 of these. See if we can expand our field a little bit, our exposures. For you, those of you like playing the mini max and stuff. So Dustin May, Nick Martinez, Ronel Blanco are the 3 highest exposed guys that we'd have if the slate started right now. Getting to 20% Edward Cabrera, to me, makes sense. Your day is not over if Edward Cabrera doesn't have a solid game, but you're also getting more than 2x the field there. That's what I like, right? That's what I like. We're under the field on Jack Flaherty, under the field on JP Sears. You're going to have to take a stand somewhere. But the one guy you'd be getting 2x the field on would actually be Cabrera here. And it could all go to shit quickly against the Dodgers. Like I said, I think the Dodgers are a more than reasonable stack today. And in the top stack tool, we have them with an 11% top stack probability, 3rd highest on the slate. But they're also the highest owned team. So by playing Cabrera, not only are you playing Cabrera on a 6-gamer where he's 9% owned, but you'd also be fading the highest owned stack on the slate. For what it's worth, there's 3 other teams in the same ballpark, but Dodgers getting a lot of ownership right now. A lot. So yeah, it feels gross, but MLB DFS is tough, man. You got to let the tools dictate where you go in some spots. You have to. Einstein, Laffy, of all the pitchers getting owned, who would you pick to stack against? That's a fun question. All right. Pull up the tools. I think there's a couple, but I know you're saying of all of them. It genuinely is going to be Atlanta. There's no weather concerns anywhere. And wind is blowing in at Coors, but it's still very mild temperatures. No concerning weather, no snow there. Yeah, it would be Atlanta, I think. I would also say, though, that the Athletics, to me, are an interesting team today. The Athletics are interesting because Corbin is going to be, I don't want to say popular, but, right in there as the 5th highest owned pitcher on the slate. And the Athletics are one of those teams that they do have some pop. This is not a bad park. There's something about this Athletics team that stands out to me as a pretty decent play today. Check this out. Against lefties on the year, fewer plate appearances than you'd love to see. But I could even go back to last year where they had some pop against lefties. 196 ISO, 346 WOBA. So they are top 5 in both of those categories. Top 5 in WRC plus as well. You love to see something like that. Yeah, to me, and look, even last year, top 10 in WRC plus, they were 3rd in ISO against lefties. I stacked against lefties last year all the time with Oakland. They're a super boomer bust team, but I'm all about getting to Oakland here. Or sorry, the Athletics. God, I hate that. In this spot against Patrick Corbin. I have very little reservations there. It's actually one of my favorite stacks. Are we getting any? Yeah, okay, 5%. 5% there. We're getting a little bit of the Athletics here against Corbin. I don't hate it at all. They have a 5-run implied total. Top 4 on the slate. Why? What about you, Einstein? What about all of you guys? Who's your favorite stack? Give me your favorite stack for this slate. Rich, why is Texas stack score so high? No JP Sears love. One of the reasons, Rich, just looking at all of this and seeing why you're going to get some Texas, I mentioned this earlier in the show, is if you look at their top value and you look at pitching today, a lot of that is going to be people paying up for pitching because there aren't a lot of cheap options they like. And it's going to result in getting to a lot of these Texas bats. If I had to guess, that's why. Right? That's, to me, why I'm seeing this. We can go into the top hitters tool and see here what we're getting. Just see what these price points are. Here you go. Top batters tool. Because their value scores higher than any team on the slate. I don't think they're a particularly good stack by themselves, although they do have a decent total. It's not like they don't have a decent total, but I don't think they're the best team overall. By any measure, but let's see here. Yeah. So look at some of the prices on some of these guys, 26, 40. Oh, why am I? That's catcher. Hold on. Let me go to team Texas. Yeah. Look how cheap this team is. Who asked that? Was it Rich? Yeah. No, who was it? Yeah, Rich. So look at in the top hitters tool, outside of Wyatt Langford, these guys are cheap. I mean, really cheap. Really cheap. So to stack this team, you're not paying much at all. Whereas, stacking Atlanta, look at those price points. Look at those price points. 59, 57, 55, 54, 53, 48. That's crazy. even Colorado on the aggregate is more expensive than Texas. So yeah, the Athletics aren't cheap either. Look at Brent Rooker, Lawrence Butler, Tyler Soderstrom. Look at that. Even Shea Langoliers. These guys are pretty expensive, but I do like this stack a lot. A lot. Look at the home run percentage on these guys. Let's see what the overall home run percentages are for the for the whole slate. Yeah, you have five in the top 12. You have 3 Athletics players. It's pretty solid. Very solid, as a matter of fact. 2 Atlanta bats in Ozuna and Austin Riley. Aaron Judge is up there. A couple people mentioned St. Louis as a stack they like. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, Martinez is going to be popular. I could see that. But yeah, look, you guys, I think we're working through this. It's pretty evident, right? It is pretty evident where the field is going right now and where you can get a little bit different. I think one of those ways would be a Cabrera. One of those ways could be some of these lesser owned stacks. You know, think about it. If you've got some of these discounted stacks that are going to be really popular, but they're not actually, they're kind of artificially promoted as one of the best stacks on the slate because people are paying for pitching so ownership comes up. If that's the case and you don't want to get there, plenty of other ways to do it. Like, for example, look at the ownership on Texas and look at the top stack probability. 11% ownership, 6% top stack. It is clearly a value play, a value proposition. That is all it is. They're negatively leveraged. But then there's other teams that look different than that. The Athletics, 9% top stack, 8% ownership. Not as good a value team, but that might be where some discounted pitching comes into play and you bite the bullet. You know, you squeeze your ass cheeks together and watch every single pitch they make as it begins to unravel. Do you guys have a pitcher where every time you roster him, you either just can't watch or follow along, or you sit there nervous as can be? For me, it was Francisco Liriano back forever ago. Every time you'd roster Liriano, he'd either go 6 innings with 10 Ks or he wouldn't make it out of the first. But there's plenty of those pitchers in today's baseball too, where if they get going strong, it is going to be beautiful. Or you know that your day is over 15 minutes into the first pitch of the game. Yeah, Kikuchi. Yep. Einstein, every Seattle pitcher on the road, that's a solid answer too. Yep. But Seattle pitchers at home are just automatic. Robbie Ray is the perfect answer. Another lefty, just like Liriano. Robbie Ray is a great answer. Great answer. Steven Pivetta. Yep, Pivetta is another one. I'll give you one too, except it's kind of the opposite. Aaron Nola. Nola could go like 4 innings, no hits, and 8 strikeouts, and then give up 2 3-run homers in the 5th and not make it out. He is one of the most unpredictable pitchers there is. I beat you to it, Einsteinium. But it's not the same as he comes out and gets wrecked early. You could go, man, this guy's figured it out. This is great. Like I did it the other day. I swear, dude. I was watching the game. I had it on TV, and then I went to do you know what it was? I think I took my kid out on the bike and we walked around the neighborhood, and I pushed my 1-year-old in her little bike. We went for maybe 15 minutes, and it was, I think, 3-0 Phillies. Nola's threw 4, 7 strikeouts. I come back. I'm like, and by the way, when I left, I had lineups that were in the top 5 of tournaments, top 20. I come back and it's like 5-3 and Nola's not in the game anymore. So he is one of the toughest to figure out. Absolutely one of the toughest. Don, what about Warren for the Yankees? I think Warren Warren kind of falls into the same category as Martinez and Corbin and those type of guys, where if we poured over all the data on Will Warren, I don't really think there's anything that would say, shit, this guy looks really, really good. But also nothing to suggest on a slate where pitching isn't good and he's discounted sub 7K. There's nothing to say, hey, don't play Will Warren, right? That's how I feel about the Martinez. Even as gross as it sounds, the Edward Cabreras, Will Warren to me it falls into that same bucket. Because you know he can get strikeouts without question. But like all these other guys, the walk rate, right? Like 24% K rate, 11% walk rate. Will Warren has all of the pieces on a small slate to be exactly the guy you're looking for. So good call out there. Who was that? Don. Good call out, Don, because he has all of the pieces to be that guy you're looking for. He also has the pieces to walk the bases loaded, and then it unravels. But so does Cabrera. So does Corbin. Corbin could get crushed. So does Nick Martinez. All of these guys. But you're talking about a nice called plus swinging strike rate, 32% this year for Will Warren. Not as many swinging strikes, but pitch placement's been strong, getting a lot of called strikes and a good amount of strikeouts. I think it's 100% reasonable. 369 xFIP on Warren. Outside of the fact that you could argue he's been a little bit lucky with that BABIP and strand rate, I could jump on board with that for sure. For sure. So yeah, those are our exposures. And by the way, guys, seriously, do yourself this favor, get these tools for free. I'll tell you this a million times until you finally do it, because it is the most no-brainer proposition in the world. And these tools are fantastic. When you've got these slates like this, where we're all asking the same questions, and I could give you an answer and you could give me an answer and we'd both be right, because Will Warren or Edward Cabrera or Tyler Corbin or JP Sears or Nick Martinez on this slate, it could just as easily go the other way. When you use the Sims, it's not just about the pitcher, it's about the construction of the lineup in its entirety, the collective lineup, right? Where you're getting that leverage. So it's never just about one player. That's why the Sims and the single lineup Sims and the top pitchers and the top stacks and the top hitters tool, which are all, by the way, simulations in their own right, so valuable for baseball, right? Where there's so much variance in baseball. You are positioning yourself to benefit from the variance and not get crushed by it. If you want to check these tools out, you get the entire month for free, guys. The whole month for free. All you're doing, literally all you're doing, is choosing one of the promos down here. If you're in a legal state, great. If you're in a non-legal betting state, grab one of these. Sleeper, Better, Vivid, Chalkboard, any of these pick'em sites. Click claim offer. That's the only way we can find you to track it. Click claim offer on however many you want. If you do one, you get a free month of The Sims for MLB or any sport you want. It's $120 value. If you're like, I'm going to do 4. I'll do the minimum deposit on 4. I'll have spent $20 total on $5 minimum deposits. And now I'll have 4 months of whatever I want. And you can do whatever sport you want. NASCAR, MLB, NBA playoffs, PGA. You're talking $480 in value right there for just signing up and following these 4 simple steps. Click claim offer on as many as you want. Take a screenshot once you get your welcome email and once your first bet settles. Take a screenshot of both and just email us. support@stokastic.com with those screenshots. Ron will take care of you. He's awesome over there. Tell us which leagues you want or what league you want if you only do one. And then just have the tools for free for the month. Or do 6 of them. Run it through the entirety of the MLB season going into football. Just straight no-brainer. Mike, anyway, use the link in the description where it says sign up with our Sportsbook's offers. Guys, when I say no-brainer, I mean it. Like, you are doing nothing but getting bonuses and match deposits when you sign up on these books or on these pick'em sites, and you're getting all of our tools for free. And you're getting a great package. You're not getting a hollowed out like, oh, here, get our rankings. No, you're getting everything. Sims, single lineup sim, top pitchers, top hitters, ownership, player projections, all of that. Yeah, it's amazing. Michael Henry, how do I find the boom bust tool for baseball? Well, all right. So for baseball, any of the premium data would be right here, right? All of it's right here. But there's no boom or bust for baseball because it's just entirely different, right? Baseball is different than those other sports. We have it for basketball, we have it for football and all of that. But use the top stacks, use top pitchers, use the top hitters tool. Obviously use the Sims. I mean, I use this every day. I'm using it today for the $100 over on DraftKings, that 111. That's a sweet contest too. Make sure to use it and play around with it. Like, you can go in, guys, and let's do this actually. Let's do a little experiment here. What do we want to look at? Let's say we want to boost exposure to a stack and see what the lineups look like. We can do this before we go. Or tamp down pitcher exposure and see who else comes up. The first thought for me is we bring down Nick Martinez and see where the redistribution of exposure goes to. But if you guys want to make the call, go for it. To me, Martinez is the most interesting. Does it all go to Dustin May and we end up getting more Texas? Does it go more to like a Flaherty and we get more Texas? Or does it go to other cheaper pitchers? More Will Warren, more Edward Cabrera. That to me is a really fascinating way of playing around with these tools and kind of manipulating them to do what they want, but also knowing that you're still getting quality lineups. Chokehold, it's a month of core, but the only difference between core and max is the amount of lineups that you can generate in the contest generator. Aside from that, everything is identical. Let's do Martinez. Let's take Martinez and cap him. Let's just say 10% on Martinez and see what happens. If we cap Martinez, and this will rebalance all of our lineups, it'll refavorite everything. We don't have to do anything. What do we get now? More Dustin May, Blanco's around the same, more Will Warren, 25%, a little more Cabrera, and more Corbin, and the same amount of Jack Flaherty with Nick Martinez at 10%. So it all kind of went everywhere. We're still not getting JP Sears. Chokehold him. Yeah, dude, if you're using the projections, absolutely would be helpful. Absolutely. And I'll give you guys a little tip here. If you're just doing one of them, go ahead and read these, because some of them have better offers than others. They're all good offers. Like if you're not on FanDuel yet, that's the best offer hands down. $200 in bonus bets for a $5 bet. My guess is most of you are. But there's some really good offers. Some really good offers. And I would say if you actually have the bankroll to do it, do the max to get the max deposit match. But that's up to you. You don't have to. Yeah, S&P, exactly. Then if you get the Hall of Fame entry, or 2 or 3 of them, that's more free months on top of the other free months you can get. You can't beat it. You're right. You can literally S&P parlay. A lot of guys do this. They parlay a free month into more free months through getting into the Hall of Fame. All you have to do is use the Stokastic avatar. And you can get that beautiful custom ring in the display case. Spins in the display case. That thing's sick. It shows your name engraved with it, with how much you won, what contest. I make them myself. I'm not down here whittling them. What I mean is I put the orders in for you guys. That'd be crazy. I'd have to charge thousands for that. Michael Henry, single lineup generator is the best part. Great way to confirm my biases. Right. Or, you know, unconfirm your biases, right? Like that's the great thing. If it doesn't work, you go, where am I going wrong? Yeah. Chokehold him. Took one down this weekend, but was rocking Orfield's avatar. Well, I'm a big fan of Neil. We've done many shows together. I would still recommend you use the Stokastic one. A lot of benefits there. I tell people all the time, like your dog avatar, cool, cute dog and everything. But at the same time, like that's not getting you free money. Also, can we be very frank about something? Sometimes we have to be, right? We love our own dogs, right? We love our pets. Love them. I love them to death. Although my dog continuously gets dumber the older she gets. I still love her, but what a moron. The thing about dogs is someone might say, hey, cute dog. No one actually cares about your dog. We care about our dogs. Nobody else cares about our dog. Why do you think when people ask me how my kids are doing, I don't say they're great. Here, look at all these pictures. You know why? Because when someone does that to me, I go, oh, fuck, here we go again. I asked you out of politeness. I hope they're doing well, genuinely. I don't need to see a 50 reel of photos from them at Dorney Park or at the aquarium. I just don't. You know, maybe I'm just an asshole. But I think the truth is I'm just saying the honest part out loud. That's all. I'll feign interest. Oh, they're beautiful kids. Man, he's going to be handsome, isn't he? Yeah. Oh, you're going to have to watch out for her. When really all I want them to do is walk away. That's just the truth. It is true. And you can say whatever you want, but it's true. You come up, you have a dog jumping all over you. All right. Hey, buddy. Good to see you. Good to see you. 15 minutes later, you're covered in dog hair. You're like, get this fucking thing away from me. Who knows? But you guys know it's true. Einsteinium, the trick is if you don't ask, you don't care. I know, but you kind of have to. You have to. I had someone do that to me on Easter. They broke out the phone. Took them 15 minutes to find the pictures. All I wanted to do was go and get another beer. That was it. But here I am stuck looking at photos. Power, you nailed it. It's because people lack self-awareness. You couldn't be more right. If someone asked me, do you have any pictures? You want to know something? I'm actually excited to show them because I love my kids. And if they're genuinely interested, then I would show them. But if they don't ask, I'm not showing them. I'm not showing them. I'm not watching a 10-minute video of them learning how to jump rope, dribble a soccer ball. If it's my buddies' kids and they send me them scoring the game-winning goal, that's awesome. All about it. But, I don't need to see your 3-year-old doing hopscotch. So if we ever meet in person and I ask, say they're great. Anyway. All right. Let's get out of here. I think a solid breakdown, hopefully for you guys. Hopefully this was, I'm always happy to take questions, but I think we went over everything. One more thing before we go, guys, jump in on OddsShopper and get your free week. Do it before it's too late, before NBA is over. Do you see this right here? These have been flowing like, what do they say? Where the beer flows like wine and the women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano. If you don't understand that reference, look it up and be ashamed of yourself. These have been everywhere in Discord the past few days, man. Absolutely, these tools are crushing. Look at this, Pat Kingpin, all OddsShopper, 5% top better on Pickett. Beautiful. Use the free week. Get as many bets in as you can. DM me. I will set you up and optimize your portfolios. I've crushed with these tools. Absolutely crushed with them. I will optimize these tools with you. I'll hold your hand through the process. We'll get you started. We'll get you placing as many bets as you possibly can every single day. Every single day. And we'll get you winning money. And at the end, you're doing it for a week and you're doing it for free and you can cancel at any time, but I don't think you'll want to. And the Discord community is fantastic. Down there, Portfolio EV by OddsShopper. Jump in with these guys. Jump in. I'm coming off my best month of the year, $5,700 on fully limited accounts with a 3% ROI. 3%! That's why compounding returns are so valuable. Join us, and before it's too late, we'd love to have you. Start making money with us and have some fun. Anyway, great stuff as always, guys. Love you all. Appreciate you hanging out. We will catch you back here tomorrow, Tuesday. Big slate, I think 10 or 11 games right here at 11 o'clock Eastern. Peace.